Welcome to the Pete Della Torre Business Program Entrepreneurial Hour, hosted by Pete Della Torre, President and CEO of the Renatus Group. The Pete Della Torre Business Program will discuss economic development and business opportunities for South Florida. The Pete Della Torre Business Program is sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Good morning, South Florida. This is Pete Della Torre on a Wednesday morning, August 22nd, 2012. We have a big show in store for all of you. Of course, we have the first hour, which is the Entrepreneur Hour, and we have some fabulous guests lined up. We go from 10 to 11 a.m. there. And the second hour, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., is the Power Hour, where we focus on the economic engines of South Florida and the movers and the shakers of the community. Before we go on, we are thinking extremely positive here this morning. We have a strong feeling, and we're hoping that this storm out there will definitely go to the east or to the west of South Florida. But you need to do the prudent thing, get yourself ready just in case. But I think we've got to just think positive that possibly this will go out to the ocean and not affect anybody. So let's keep our fingers crossed there. The call-in number here, if you want to talk to any of the guests, if you have any comments, is 305-541-2350. We have some great guests in the first hour. He's going to be joining me here in a moment. Is Andy Gasatua, managing partner with Gasatua Letelier, PA, and he's also a big member of MathPack, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Our Great Florida Bank segment we do every week, we're featuring Obdulio Piedra, Market President, Miami-Dade County for Great Florida Bank, Barbara Marcel, Vice President, Director of Marketing at the bank, and a special guest, a customer of the bank, Karina Mobius. She is the creator of the Little Havana Guide. So we'll have some great information on Little Havana and all the excitement going on there. And then the third guest will be Plinio Vargas. He's the Chief Negotiator of Professional Negotiators, Inc. He has got a terrific organization that can really, truly help you improve your credit and get your financial life in order. So he will be with us during the second half hour of the first hour, Entrepreneur Hour. So before we move on here, again, very, very happy with the things that are going on with the show. We're getting some great feedback from all of you, and thank you for all the positive comments. We're going to continue to strive to make sure that we are providing you with the information that you need, the resources, and, of course, share the good news on what's going on here in South Florida's business community. So without further ado, let me bring on to the show a great friend of mine from a great family. He has been on a couple of times in the past, and that is my good friend, Andy Gasatua. Welcome back, buddy.
Pete, thank you for having me back. Such a pleasure.
Well, listen, there's a lot to talk about here, of course. There's a lot of excitement because we have less than, I think, 90 days to go for the elections, and it's only going to start heating up more and more and more as we keep moving forward here. I guess the first question is, I know that we got some concern regarding the storm, and then time will tell in the next couple of days what we do here. But assuming that we don't get affected by the storm and life goes on, are you going to the convention, Republican convention?
Absolutely. We'll be there next week. It's going to be a very, very interesting and exciting week. Being there, the value really is it's an incredible networking opportunity for business purposes and also for purposes of advancing our objectives as Republicans. I actually was interviewed by Reuters yesterday by David Adams about going, and he wanted to know as a young Hispanic what my perspectives were, a young conservative Hispanic. And I said, David, and I'll say to you again on your show, that the value really is to be there to break bread with Republicans and conservatives from all over the country and find areas where we can collaborate and think the same and then accentuate our differences and really let them know that we can all be Republicans together. We don't have to be to the extreme right or moderate, as they call it. So I think it'll really be a fantastic opportunity, and I'm humbled that I was invited to go.
How many people do you think are going to attend the convention? Because I know there's things within the convention itself, and I believe you have to be a delegate to be able to do that. But there's going to be other events and things outside the actual convention, right?
It's really incredible. You have to be a delegate or be credentialed to go into the convention. And fortunately, Maverick PAC, which we'll talk about later, got me some credentials to go. But if you're in town and you're a policy wonk or a big fan of the party or just interested, there are so many events. I mean, my calendar is booked, be it events from Naleo, be it events from Sun PAC, Maverick PAC's having an event, and these events are all open to the public. Also, it's a fantastic fundraising opportunity. I mean, there are fundraising events lined up for the new Paul Ryan for the nominee, the vice presidential nominee. So, I mean, there's just major access, major networking, and major breaking bread. I mean, it's a big deal, and the fact that it's 4 hours away from Miami makes it really easy for all our colleagues down here to go. As a matter of fact, when I talk to my friends who are in this world or are interested in this, the first thing they've been asking me for the last 2 or 3 weeks is, are you going? And then which party, which event, which forum are you going to? So we're all going to get together up there, and I think it'll be great. And I'm certain the storm will avoid us because we want to avoid it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's from your mouth to God's ears. Now, I know we talked about this a few months ago, but give us an update on MavPAC and is the organization doing anything specific at the convention?
We're having a couple fundraisers, which those are private events. But we're having a public event on Wednesday evening at the Tampa Photography Museum, which is a gorgeous brand new venue. It's kind of funny. We're calling it Mav Bash because it's at the end of the
That's
day.
That's good. I like that.
It's at the end of the day. Actually, George P. Bush came up with the name of the event. It's going to be at 9:30 in the evening at the Photography Museum in Tampa. We're going to have a band, actually. It's going to be really exciting. And also, we're going to have a lot of really high-level elected officials, members of Congress. I'm also told that Ted Cruz is going to be there, the candidate for U.S. Senate in Texas, who's really exciting. I
saw him on Meet the Press. Very impressive guy.
He's really impressive and intense, and he's one of the founders of Maverick PAC.
Is that right?
Yeah, okay. We're really fortunate to have that type of pedigree and legacy in the organization.
I know that yesterday, Romney's son, you were with him, and was it Hialeah?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. The councilman, Paul Hernandez, gave me a buzz. I had meetings in the morning, so I couldn't go to the other thing. He says, Craig Romney will be at the office in Hialeah. It was only about 15 of us, so we got to spend some quality time with him. Also, we hosted Craig in the last spring, with Maverick PAC at the Sergio's on Miracle Mile, and we had some pastelitos or whatever. And he's a great surrogate for his dad. I mean, he's on point. The guy does a great job.
This is his oldest son, right?
No, the oldest son is Tag.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Craig is the son who I believe spent a couple years in Chile studying. He speaks better Spanish than most of us.
Wow. Okay,
yeah.
So these little tidbits are very interesting. That most of really everybody in the country just don't know about, whether it be the Romney or Obama. Little things that make these people. The best thing really, if you're interested in politics locally, and since we're talking locally, you got to get on Twitter and you follow these feeds, because that's where you know where all the events are. On Facebook, Bradley Gerber of the Young Republicans down here also does a great job promoting all these events. He kind of aggregates everything that's going on, and he sends it out on Facebook and Twitter. So, you just got to follow it, and then you get to meet these people because they're very accessible, and they come. I mean, they're here. Very cool people. Now, again, I don't know if it's 82 days, 83 days left for the election. From your perspective, what is the outlook for conservatives? Obviously, there's a presidential race, but there's tons of races around the country, around the state, municipality. What's your take, and what are the outlook for conservatives? Because, without a doubt, of course, starting at the top of the presidential race, there are two clear-cut visions for the future. I mean, there's no gray area here. And at the end of the day, it's whoever you believe is going to lead us down the road to prosperity. But from a conservative perspective, in terms of the races and the mood of the country, where do you see things going?
I think we need to really accentuate perhaps that we're more accentuate our fiscally conservative side. Mm-hmm. I think once we focus on that, we can really get the attention and get people interested and get people excited who are independents or some of those who are Democrats. I think once we start getting into the social issues, the waters get muddied and people just don't want to deal with it. Mm-hmm. So on my side, and me personally, I'm a fiscal conservative, so that's why I'm able to, dialogue and collaborate with individuals who aren't necessarily that fiscally conservative. And I think the party's doing really well in trying to do that. We're trying to find our common ground. And we'll have great leadership now, and in the future, I'm sure we'll have even better leadership that can get that message out there.
Yeah, it's because it's like anything else. You have not everyone agrees on every single issue. And it's like the social issues really start to the emotions really come out when it comes to the social issues there. But it's like you said, I think without a doubt the number one issue is the economy and jobs, and all else is second nature right now.
Yeah, forget about it. I agree with you. Let's just focus on the bottom line.
Yep.
Black and white, and let's just get it done. Let's get the engine running smoothly.
Absolutely.
And that's what we all need to do.
Now, doing a little pivot to your practice, in general, man, I mean, the question is, how's business?
Business is fantastic. Thank God. I'm government affairs lawyer, lobbyist, for the lack of a better term. It even rolls off my tongue painfully, but that's what I do. Really, I help companies. My clients are large national companies that work with local government in privatizing functions that don't necessarily need to be done by government employees. We privatize them domestically. The jobs stay within the community. They don't go to India or China or things like that. Nothing ridiculous like that. It's just certain functions that can be done more efficiently by the private sector. Transportation issues, I can't really get into it because I'm under non-disclosure with a lot of my clients.
Sure.
But call centers, things like that just are better done by the private sector locally, mm-hmm. and to keep the jobs in town. So business is going really well. The brand development, the substance, the authoring op-eds. I author op-eds in the Miami Herald occasionally when they allow me, and also in the Huffington Post. And I'm going to write a couple more. I'm going to try and get, to the next level. I'll just be real sarcastic and funny at the same time. And usually that's how you get published. But things are going really well, and, we just got to keep up the momentum. We got to all work hard and try and get through this election and try and make a difference either way it goes. We all have to work together after Election Day in November.
No, and traditionally through the years, when you get to that point right about Labor Day through the election, which is about a 2-month cycle, traditionally, I don't care what the states have been or what the situation has been, typically people just kind of pull back a little bit. It's like, wait and see. Let's see what happens with the election. I'm always thinking, well, okay, does life just go back to normal the day after and everything is hunky-dory? And, you got to move on with your life. But just people have a tendency sometimes not to make decisions that they need to make, and they hold them off just to see what happens. And, mm-hmm. And I think that's going to happen, and it's going to be probably more of that this year than in previous elections.
I think the beauty and the long-lasting legacy of this democracy is that we can be in a bloody brawl, but after Election Day, we come together and we work together. And it's just something that has set us aside from every form of government in the history of this planet. And we're very fortunate that in this country we can do that. And we just need to suck it up and work together whichever way it goes after the election. And I think it's going to be really exciting and fun and good for business because we all need to work.
Well, it just brings our game, our game to a whole different level. We can't just sit on our laurels. We have to step it up and be proactive.
No, clearly I agree with you. And I also want to pitch real quick. If you invite me back in September, we're going to do, pivoting back to Maverick Pack because I like it and it's so much fun. We're doing a bus tour with George P. Bush starting on the 17th, and we're hitting every university in the state promoting Maverick Pack.
Okay.
And young professionals getting involved and young professionals worried about job development. So we're going to stop with him. He'll be featured as, The logo will be on the side of the bus. His face will be on the bus. We're going to end up here. Madeline, the president of Miami-Dade College, Wolfson campus is helping us put it together. And we're going to have a fantastic event at Wolfson campus September 20th at 3 o'clock. We'll have more info before. I'll send it to you for
Please
your
do.
Facebook page and your website. And I think it'll be really, really great just to get some high-level, interesting conversation and access for everyone in trying to change things for young professionals, too.
Well, we'll definitely look at that, and we'll coordinate the dates. Buddy, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much,
today,
my friend.
Man. And, it's going to be an interesting weekend. Keep our fingers crossed, an interesting convention. And, obviously the DNC has the following week. So after the next 2 weeks are up, then we get into that real heavy-duty part of the elections and leading up to the debates in October. So put on your seatbelts, folks, because it's only going to get a lot more ruckus, I think, out there in all the campaigns. But thanks so much, buddy. And we're going to go to a break, and then we'll bring on the team with Great Florida Bank.
We'll be right back with the Pete De La Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Hi, I'm Pete De La Torre, host of the Renatus Business Hour Show. Do you hate your bank? Don't care? Are you tired of never being able to contact your banker and getting charged a fee for almost everything you do? Always being in the back of the line? If so, you might want to listen to what I have to say about my bank, Great Florida Bank. Here I get personalized, concierge-style service. And now is a great time to sign up for Great Florida Bank's Merchant Services Mobile Credit Card Processing Solution. Their team will take a look at your processing needs, and if a mobile solution works for you, they'll give you a mobile card reader for free. If Great Florida Bank can't meet or beat your current processing rates, you'll receive $500. I'm going to share one of Great Florida Bank's best-kept secrets. They never charge customers to use ATMs nationwide. Plus, if another bank charges you an ATM fee, they reimburse that ATM fee anywhere in the U.S. At Great Florida Bank, they take pride in offering personalized customer service and even give their customers their cell number. If you want a banking experience like mine, the Great Florida Bank Standard of Banking, call my personal banker, Obdulio Piedra, Great Florida Bank's Miami-Dade Market President. Call his cell, 305-514-6450, and tell Obdulio I sent you.
Today, everyone wants to be environmentally responsible, but you can't recycle your way to sustainability. Real sustainability goes far beyond recycling and requires us to consider the three competing factors at work in our world: the economy, the environment, and society. By choosing concrete as your preferred building and paving material, you will achieve sustainable results in all three areas. Concrete's durability allows homes and structures built with concrete or concrete block to withstand Florida's severe weather and keep your family safe within your financial means. Concrete roads and parking lots are also very affordable, have much cooler surface temperatures, and last 3 to 5 times longer than asphalt, providing a much higher value for the money on public projects funded with your tax dollars. Lastly, concrete pavements allow shorter stopping distance in both wet and dry conditions and are reflective, providing safer conditions and better visibility at night for both pedestrians and motorists while using less energy at a lower overall cost. Choose concrete, the material for life. A message from Titan America, one of Florida's leading cement and concrete manufacturers. Visit them at TitanAmerica.com or call them at 954-481-2800.
Imagine owning one of the finest automobiles in its class for a payment you never thought possible. Well, right now at Esserman International Volkswagen, it is possible. Because for a limited time, you can lease the all-new 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month. Yes, you heard right. A 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month with zero due at signing, on a 36-month lease with zero security deposit. Only Esserman International Volkswagen can offer you such an exquisite combination of price and service. Enjoy it all at Esserman International Volkswagen, home of the 2012 Passat S, for just $249 per month. 36-month lease, zero due at signing, zero security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, plus tax, tag with approved credit, $249 lease per month. Offer good through September 3rd, 2012.
Welcome back to the Pete Della Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Okay, my friends, welcome back to the Pete Della Torre Business Program. Want to thank again Andy Gasatua for being part of the show and very involved with Maverick PAC. Very dynamic young organization of conservatives, and of course, you know, the big weekend coming up now in Tampa for the Republican National Convention, and they're really doing a lot of things. It's a very dynamic group, and regardless of your political views, you know, from what I've seen, they're doing the right things for the right reasons. So my hat goes off to them. Now we have what I always enjoy is my time here with the Great Florida Bank family, and I really, you know, my thoughts on it is that they really are, they're not even partners or family. It's just a great group of people, and every week we've got different topics we're talking about, and today is another great example of what we're you know, we've been doing the last several weeks, and we have got a great contingent here this morning. I'm going to start with the market president for Great Florida Bank, Miami-Dade County, Obdulio Piedra, who is with us here today. Of course, if you hear the spots, I always tell you that he is available. I get his cell phone numbers available to call him up, and he's my banker. I know Jason Tim is going to be a little bit pissed off at me, but it's a team approach here, right? We have Barbara Murcell, VP and Director of Marketing, as I like to say, the Doctor of Marketing. Hello, Barbara.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Obdulio, say hello to everybody.
Good morning, Pete. Great to be back.
Absolutely. And, of course, our very, very special guest, who is doing some really, really, really cool things, is Corina Mobius. She is the creator of Little Havana Guide. And this is pretty fascinating because Little Havana is becoming, that whole area, for me, is like the Bourbon Street now of Miami. It's just really cool, and it's ethnic, yes. And it's just really, really nice what's going on. And I was there about a month ago for, of course, an event that Great Florida Bank did there, and we'll talk more about that. But let me start with Corina, and of course, you are the creator of Little Havana Guide, which is, again, a guide to all things related to Little Havana. Tell us a little bit more about the guide and how that came together.
Sure. Thank you. And good morning, listeners. Little Havana Guide is completely online, so it's littlehavanaguide.com. And I live in Little Havana. I'm always interacting with folks in Little Havana, and I talk a lot with the small business owners in Little Havana. But I would hear locals and tourists saying, "What is there to do in Little Havana? Where do I get that mojito? Where do I get that good, Cuban music? Where do I get some really good food around here?" And I'd always be directing people, "Oh, you can go here. You can go to Cuba Ocho, is a great mojito. You can go to this restaurant down the street. You're looking for cigars. Here's where you can see cigar rollers." But I realized there was no sort of resource. I mean, I'm just having to say this over and over and over again. So I decided to put this information online in a really easy to understand way. And so I have a complete sort of guide with activities and music and dance and theater. It even has interactive maps on where you can go. And then I have regular articles. I profile different local business owners. I have a visit and stay section so you can find out about how to get here, driving directions, where you can park, how to get here by bike. etc. And an email newsletter that I send out every single week, and a calendar of events, all the events going on in the area.
I really like your guide because it's chock full of just enough information, like all the most important thing that you'd want to know what's going on in Little Havana. And I think, the other thing I was going to ask you was, since we have Obdulio here, is how the two of you first met was many, many years ago, because you had a different position
yes.
back then.
I used to be executive director of Viernes Culturales, which is the wonderful monthly event on the last Friday of every month. And it was through that I met Obdulio.
Exactly. And as my involvement in the past, as a past president of the Kiwanis Club of Little Havana, we got involved with Viernes Culturales through Pablo Canton.
Yes.
And we're proud to say that, the Kiwanis Club of Little Havana was the first organization to give seed money to the creation of Viernes Culturales. And we're very proud. That's the heart of our festival that has provided the funds that we use annually to, for example, in the last couple of days with the start of the new school year, we have given out 5,000 book bags as part of the Kiwanis Club of Little Havana
Fantastic.
Programs. So Viernes Culturales and Little Havana have always been in the heart of the Kiwanis Club of Little Havana, and I'm very proud to be part of that creation of bringing culture, art, music to all the residents through the vehicle that Viernes Culturales created.
How long have you had the guide?
Well, I launched it in January, but it was sort of a beta version, and I got different feedback on how to reorganize it and make it a little bit easier to navigate. So then I relaunched in June, and I've had a tremendous response to it. I have a lot of people subscribing to the newsletter. I once had 130 likes on one article. I couldn't believe it. But I'm really excited by the reaction, because it sort of is an indicator that there is a lot of renewed energy and interest in Little Havana. There's a lot of exciting entrepreneurs who've come into the neighborhood doing really unique concepts. We have Azúcar, which is a fantastic locally made ice cream. And Cuba Ocho is a fantastic place.
Cuba Ocho is a phenomenal place.
Yeah, I love Cuba Ocho. I go there regularly myself. And they have outstanding, it's right on the corner of 15th Avenue and Calle Ocho, and they have outstanding musical groups on Fridays and Saturdays.
It's right across the street from the famous Domino's Park, correct?
Exactly. And they also have a new event on Wednesday evenings that's very exciting and innovative and has a lot of different arts groups. But every time I actually do tours of the neighborhood as well. I do 3-hour cultural walking tours, and every time I take folks into Cuba Ocho, that's sort of the awe moment where they're just,
it's a
wow,
beautiful, and even
so
the
cool.
outside space.
Yes, they have a lot of murals outside, and Roberto Ramos, the owner, and
we
his
had
wife,
him on.
Yene Farinas Ramos, they have probably one of the most outstanding private collections of Cuban art around, and a beautiful courtyard space where you can sit and smoke cigars.
It's absolutely Cuba when you go there. I mean, it really is Cuba.
And not to forget that it's right next door to Great
Florida Bank. Little Havana's banking solution. And Obdulio is our compliance guy this morning. I want you all to know that.
We need that.
Hey, Barbara, let me pose a question to you. Of course, we have the Viernes Culturales.
Yeah.
And I went to the one you had
Last
last
month.
time. And you're planning another one next week, right?
Well, we're going to be at Cuba Ocho. We're partnering with Roberto. We're going to be inside with him, and he has a great networking group that comes out for
Cuba Ocho is actually the family room of the banking. So, because they're just right there.
You walk out our back door,
right.
we're in his terrace garden, so
Exactly.
we just go in and out through there. And then we'll probably, I think it's a great idea, since, Great Florida Bank is right there in the middle of everything, that, we just participate with the community every month. And I love the new, the Merchants Association meetings that Karina was telling us about, the involvement with that. And
Yeah, this is the Little Havana Merchant Alliance. I co-founded it with Bill Fuller, who's a really amazing person in the
How
in the
long has that
neighborhood.
association been running?
For about a year now.
Okay. Wow.
But we just started weekly breakfast gatherings, and we have information on Facebook for those of you on Facebook, but Little Havana Merchant Alliance. And it's a chance to give our local business owners and people in our business and professional community a chance to meet each other, to work together to help market the neighborhood as a destination, and we're doing educational workshops, etc.
Now, a question, and I think I know what the boundaries are, but Little Havana goes as far west as, what, 27th Avenue? Is that correct?
Well,
Blulio's here. He'll correct me on my... Little Havana is all of Miami. I understand that, but...
There is a very broad definition
Right.
Yes.
of what Little Havana is.
Yes.
for
I'll
instance,
talk about
Calle
that.
Ocho starts where, the celebration?
Well, the historical, let's say, Calle Ocho starts in 27th Avenue
Okay.
and
Yes.
goes all the way to 4th
Right.
Avenue. There's great history in that area of Little Havana. I'm sure that part of the tours that Karina is now conducting, the historical portion of Little Havana will be of great interest to many people out there.
Yes.
But the class, the traditional places, the landmark locations, we'll remember that's 13th Avenue, where Cuban
Yes.
Memorial Boulevard is.
And Los Pinareños, a fantastic fruit market.
Yeah, Los Pinareños. You have the Tower Theater that now is run through by Miami-Dade College.
Yes.
Incredible historical value. The famous Domino Park that's over there.
Yes.
And, always, people make mention of Calle Ocho intersects with Ronald Reagan Boulevard, which
Yes.
is 12th Avenue.
12th Avenue.
We have La Gloria Cubana, which it's probably one of the best Cuban cigars that's manufactured worldwide, and the headquarters are right there on, I think it's 10th. 11th. So, there's a lot of history in Calle Ocho.
And the boundaries, it's interesting you bring that up, though. The boundaries are disputed. I talk about this.
That's why
the western boundaries. Yeah, some people say 27th, but what I the question I posed to them is, then would you say that Versailles is not in Little Havana? Is it in some
Exactly.
twilight zone between Little Havana and Cuba Ocho? So I do think that it goes to 37th
Avenue.
37th.
I agree.
But some folks disagree with me, and it's okay. We have disagreements on that.
It's very broad, the definition. Obviously, from a historical point, Versailles has become an institution.
Yes.
We know
And you
that.
have the original La Carreta also.
Exactly.
Well, oddly, many people don't know this factoid, but Felipe Valls, the owner of Versailles, started in the on 8th Street and 14th or 15th, where is now El Pub. That used to be known as Badia's.
Yes.
And Badia's was the original restaurant that
Great.
he started with a partner there. And so there's a lot of historical factoids in Calle Ocho. Now, on the northern side of the boundary, obviously, some people may say it's first or Flagler, but some people say it goes all the way to 7th Street.
Actually, and I say it goes to the Miami
the river.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the interesting thing is, when you talk to people and you say, do you think, I read so many things that are about Little Havana, and so, it's where people self-identify too. So some people say, oh yeah, I'm in Little Havana. Marlins Park, that's Little Havana, right? So
that's part of their campaign, is in the heart of Little Havana.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
But most people agree that on the eastern boundary, it's also sort of the Miami River and where I-95 goes to. The southern boundary, just a few blocks south of 8th Street. Most people say, because you have in the Roads, which is its own residential neighborhood, and then you have Shenandoah, another really nice residential area there too. But I have to say, it's so exciting, this the energy that's happening. We have a lot of folks. We have a whole historic preservation movement going on. People are really interested in the bungalows and restoring bungalows. We have including and a lot of interest from people in real estate too, because they're realizing, wow, this area is it's a perfect location. You're right near downtown. You're accessible to
right down the street from
I-95 and Dolphin and everything. And we kind of feel like Little Havana's been a bit neglected in terms of getting the attention for what it has. So we're glad to be able to say, hey, you know what? This neighborhood that sometimes gets pushed to the side really has some amazing places and things to do.
Well, I want to identify some people that do deserve some credit in always having Little Havana in the forefront in Calle Ocho. May he rest in peace, Mr. Luis Sabines, that ran the Camacol for years.
Yes.
And Luis was always a staunch supporter of the merchants in Calle Ocho and Little Havana. Now, the transformation of Calle Ocho from a storefront that catered to the community to now a tourist destination has been a painful process to many of the merchants. But now, I was there on Saturday, and I was totally thrilled to see how thriving destination it has become for tourists to come over and enjoy the culture, the flavor, the smells of what our community is about.
Absolutely. We've got about a minute left in our segment here, but this is the beginning of a dialogue, because when you talk about entrepreneurs, and this is the focus of this hour, is the entrepreneur and the aspiring entrepreneurs. When you go to Little Havana, because my parents left Cuba in the 50s, and we migrated here in 1962. So I mean, obviously I was a lot younger back then, but and Barbara laughs. But now kind of close with this is that my dad, was working 4 different jobs, to try to support the family and many others like that, and then businesses started popping up because there was that spirit that we're going to make it here. We came with nothing, and we're going to make it, and we're going to create. So I want to really extend this conversation on that, because I think Little Havana is a perfect example. There's no large industries there. Yeah. It's truly the entrepreneurs of the world.
It is a central
heaven.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot to do that. So we're all going to come back and expand more on that.
Great.
When you're having these conversations, there's only so much time you have, but we're going to have you come back, because I think this is a great idea. Congratulations,
well, thank
Karina.
you.
This is
thank
great.
You.
And Barbara, you want to say one thing real quick?
Yeah, Karina, you've got great tours going, and you want to put out your domain and your
Little Havana Guide.
Repeat it a couple of times so people get it.
Yeah, it's Little, Little, Havana with a V as in Victor, HAVANA Guide, GUIDE.com. And you can contact me via the website. You can find more information about Little Havana Merchant Alliance there as well, and the tours.
Thank you so much, Karina.
Excellent.
Really, really appreciate it there. Dooley, thank you so much, my friend.
Pete, thank you as always.
Yes,
Barbara,
thank you,
as always.
Doctora de Mercadeo, thank you for all your help.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, we're going to go to a break, and then we'll be right back with the Pete de la Torre Business Program.
We'll be right back with the Pete de la Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Imagine owning one of the finest automobiles in its class for a payment you never thought possible. Well, right now at Esserman International Volkswagen, it is possible. Because for a limited time, you can lease the all-new 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month. Yes, you heard right. A 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month with zero due at signing on a 36-month lease with zero security deposit. Only Esserman International Volkswagen can offer you such an exquisite combination of price and service. Enjoy it all at Esserman International Volkswagen, home of the 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month. 36-month lease, zero due at signing, zero security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, plus tax, tag with approved credit, $249 lease per month. Offer good through September 3rd, 2012.
Hi, my name is Plinio Vargas, and I'm the president of Professional Negotiators Incorporated, where we specialize in credit restoration, debt repayment arbitration, personal money management, and purchasing. Come join me and my staff to go over how to establish 3 very important things: money in the bank, no debt, and clean credit. Feel free to give us a call at 305-493-1900. We're open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And yes, we have Saturday hours from 9 to 5. Again, give us a call at 305-493-1900. Let me and my staff make your home and car buying purchases, that dream, a reality.
Hi, I'm Pete Delatorre, host of the Renata's Business Hour show. Do you hate your bank? Don't care? Are you tired of never being able to contact your banker and getting charged a fee for almost everything you do? Always being in the back of the line? If so, you might want to listen to what I have to say about my bank, Great Florida Bank. Here I get personalized, concierge-style service. And now is a great time to sign up for Great Florida Bank's Merchant Services Mobile Credit Card Processing Solution. Their team will take a look at your processing needs, and if a mobile solution works for you, they'll give you a mobile card reader for free. If Great Florida Bank can't meet or beat your current processing rates, you'll receive $500. And I'm going to share one of Great Florida Bank's best-kept secrets. They never charge customers to use ATMs nationwide. Plus, if another bank charges you an ATM fee, they reimburse that ATM fee anywhere in the U.S. At Great Florida Bank, they take pride in offering personalized customer service and even give their customers their cell number. If you want a banking experience like mine, the Great Florida Bank Standard of Banking, call my personal banker, Obdulio Piedra, Great Florida Bank's Miami-Dade Market President. Call his cell, 305-514-6450, and tell Obdulio I sent you.
Welcome back to the Pete Delatorre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Okay, my friends, welcome back to the Pete Delatorre Business Program for Wednesday morning, August 22nd, 2012. We are on every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. here on 880 a.m. The Biz. Again, we want to hear from you. The number here is 305-541-2350. Want to hear your comments, any questions you may have for our guests. My email, if you want to get a hold of me, is info@PeteRadioshow.com. Visit also my landing page on my website, which is PeteRadioshow.com. Become a fan of the Pete Radio Show Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Pete Radio Show and connect with me on LinkedIn. Now it is my pleasure to bring on a gentleman I met about 2 or 3 weeks ago through an introduction from a mutual friend. And this guy has got a really cool business. He's got a great service he's providing. And he's a new partner with the radio show and will be on with us for the next 4 weeks, including today, with some great information on improving your credit score and on improving your financials in general. So it is my pleasure now to bring to the show Plinio Vargas, who is also, and I found out in our meeting, we went to the same high school together. So, we kind of connected pretty quickly in that one there. So, Plinio, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me, Pete, and it's a pleasure being here. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for this opportunity to share information with the listening audience. I know that when you mention things like credit, as you can imagine, there's so much more to it than that.
Absolutely.
I mean, keep in mind that for the past 5 years, we've been going through what's called an economical crisis. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have not just lost homes, have incurred an extraordinary amount of credit card debt. Mm-hmm. Repossessions, and people don't really know what to do. Yet, for the past 5 years, the government has bailed out car dealerships,
Mm-hmm.
finance companies, banks. But who is bailing out people? And that's where I have, for the past 14 years, put together and structured a program where I have been able to work within the system, helping people establish and make their dreams a reality. Their dreams are very simple. Ready? Money in the bank, no debt, and clean credit. And when you can say, after I met Mr. Vargas, 6 months later, I actually have money in the bank, no debt, clean credit. Now I can go to Rooms to Go. Mm-hmm. Now I can go to Brandsmart. Now I can buy a car and get a 0% interest rate.
And buy a house.
And now I can buy a house. Mm-hmm. Well, that is what I do, and it's my pleasure. Yeah, my name is Plinio Vargas, and I am the president of Professional Negotiators Incorporated, where we specialize in credit restoration, debt repayment arbitration, personal money management, and purchasing. Backwards in plain English, I help people buy houses and cars by vigorously, radically helping them get out of debt. And I do not help people get out of debt through bankruptcy, nor debt consolidation.
And that's refreshing because I think these debt consolidation companies are a dime a dozen. They're everywhere. You hear them. You read about them. We had a great conversation when I went to your office a few weeks ago, and I think the listeners really need to hear what actually inspired you to do this.
Oh, my story. Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, okay. I did go all the way with school, and I got a business degree. I got my master's, as a matter of fact. But it's interesting because to prove that I was an educated man, I had about $30,000 in student loans, and I guess that made me an educated man.
Right, which is very typical, as we all know.
I had to pay for it. But when the reality hit me when I came home from college, and my mother, who worked very, very hard as a waitress, putting me through private school, which was PACE, lots of therapy, thank you very much, and college. I came home to find out that as a waitress, she had a slip and fall 6 months prior to me graduating college. And when I came home as a business mate with a business degree, master's in business, I found out that my mother had her house in foreclosure, her car had been repossessed, and while I was in college, she got these pre-approved credit cards in her name, signed my name, and then got cash advances to keep me in college with $100, $200 a month, whatever it took. She charged over $8,000, made the minimum payments, but when she slipped and fell, she wasn't able to make the payments anymore. When I came home and I found out this happened, I said, Mom, what are we going to do about this? And she goes, I don't know, mi hijo. You tell me, you're the one with the college degree. And I looked at my poor mother, who slaved herself to death to put me through school, and I came home and I'm asking her for advice with a master's degree in business. I'm like, now, I went
you were at a crossroads at that point.
I was at a major crossroad because I didn't understand how me, $30,000 in student loans, an educated man, could not tell you the first thing about foreclosure, repossession, credit cards, credit, do's and don'ts of balancing your checkbook, how to apply for a credit card. I could tell you about macroeconomics, the laws of supply and demand.
Well, we were all experts there, absolutely. That theory was really worked well.
You know, things that you really need when you graduate. And at that point, I went into what's called our man cave. Mm-hmm. And 8 years later, I'm 44 now. I was 30 then. I was 21 then. But 8 years later, by the time I was 29, I had mastered and perfected everything there is. I studied beyond belief. I got my PhD in credit at that point. Cleaned up my mother, cleaned up my family. I mean, they were like the perfect specimens.
Absolutely.
And by the time I was done with them, negotiating settlements, I took a debt, as a matter of fact, just to move forward, about 6 weeks ago, Pete. It was a $35,000 debt with Bank of America that I settled for $4,000, saving my client $31,000. A few weeks ago, about 3 weeks ago, I got a client score from 580 to 690, and now they're closing on their house this week. And I am so proud to say that I have helped hundreds upon thousands of Americans in the past 14 years that I've been in business because my mother.
Well, you know something, we have an inspiration that takes us to the next level, and that is a great story. So I wanted the listeners to hear that because I just thought it hit home. You know, it's like, where do we go from here? You need to start getting creative. You need to start focusing and getting proactive. So that's great. I understand that we have a caller on the line here. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
Hi. My name is Aurora Perez.
Hello, Aurora. Welcome to the Pete Della Torre Business Program.
Thank you. What a great program, Pete. Really. I think I needed to call in because I have used Plinio services a couple of times now, and I think that you and Plinio actually should take this show on the road and do it for many stations because a lot of people need to hear what Plinio does because you know what? The situations, the economy actually intimidates people, and they're afraid. They feel guilty. They think they don't know what to do. And you know, Plinio, how Plinio does it is exactly that. He treats everybody like they're his mother. I just got that. And you know, he takes your hand, he walks you through. He has cleaned my daughter's credit up. He has not only and single-handedly he got my other daughter a car negotiated down to I can't even I don't even know what happened. We left there with a brand new car for my 20-year-old, and then single-handedly my 20-year-old's credit went up just in that transaction. So I really, Plinio, thank you so much, and I think that you need to actually. I don't know how you're going to do this, but you need to let everybody know that you you can do this because everybody I think is in the same situation. And there's no shame in it. And it's just a matter of getting it cleaned up, what you do, and moving forward. So thank you, Plinio.
Wow, what a great call, huh, Plinio?
You're welcome. I apologize, but I'm on the radio right now. I'm trying not to get emotional, but I mean
it's okay, Plinio. You can go ahead. Come on, a big boo-hoo. Come on.
We are about real people here, buddy.
Yeah,
so.
It just makes me feel. It just makes me feel so good that I mean when you say. I didn't think about it that way, but when you say that I treat everybody like if they were my mother, that's how close to home this is to me.
Yep.
Every time somebody comes up to me and tells me, look, I don't know what to do. I mean, I can't help you with a kidney problem or liver, but if it's credit and debt, I will do whatever I have learned in the past 20 years to help you out of that situation. It's that close to home.
Aurora, thank you so much. Really appreciate you calling the show.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you both. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
You take care of that.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
We got about a minute or so left here, but we wanted to get this thing kicked off today. We wanted to start, going the overall picture here of what you do, and in the next few weeks we're going to get more into the nitty gritty, and
sure.
We're going to talk about specific, how you can help, for instance, the steps in getting the credit improved, which is absolutely critical. The debt situation there, so. For all of the listeners out there this morning, you need to tune in the next few weeks to what Plinio has to say here because this is absolutely vital information, and Aurora just alluded to it right now. There's nothing to be ashamed of. We're all humans. We all go through difficulties, and especially in the last few years with this recession, everybody's been humbled in one way or another. So,
you're not kidding,
my friend. This is a start, and we're gonna continue this the next few weeks. And I really appreciate you all coming out here this morning, buddy.
Well, I just like to say that if anybody does have any questions or they want to speak to me directly,
yep.
I mean, I guess what you can do is call me because we can continue this relationship afterwards. 305-493-1900. If you got any questions, you got a situation where the student loans, judgments, collections, harassing phone calls, they're suing you, garnishing your wages, I've learned everything backwards and forwards, and it'll be my pleasure to advise you. Again, the telephone number to professional negotiators is 305-493-1900, and my name is Plinio Vargas.
Thank you, my friend. This has been terrific. Great kickoff here.
I
want to thank my guests from the first hour, Andy Gasatua. Of course, everyone regarding Great Florida Bank, Obdulio, Barbara, and of course, Corina Mobius with Creative Little Havana Guide. What a great resource for that whole area and all the entrepreneurs. We're getting ready now for the second hour, the Power Hour. Do not touch that dial because we have some amazing guests coming up, and we're going to launch it and kick it off with Ken Roberts, president of World City. So stay tuned, and we will be back after the station break. Take care.
We'll be right back. Welcome to the second hour of the Pete Della Torre Business Program, Power Hour, hosted by Pete Della Torre, President and CEO of the Renatus Group. The Pete Della Torre Business Program will discuss economic development and business opportunities for South Florida. The Pete Della Torre Business Program is sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Welcome back, my friends. Now, this is the Power Hour of the Pete Della Torre Business Program. Thank all of my guests that were here during the Entrepreneur Hour. And we have 3 guests that are going to be joining us today here. We're going to start with Ken Roberts. I've known Ken for a long, long time, since we were 10 years old. I'm kidding, of course, but we've known each other for a while and used to do some work together at Coral Gables Chamber. And I was there when he launched his phenomenal organization, World City, and we're going to talk a lot about that. After Ken, we will be bringing on Dulce Resnick, who is Vice President of NCF Insurance Association and a past president of the LAAIA, which is the Latin American Association of Insurance Agents. And you guessed it, we're going to be talking about this storm out there and the things that you need to be thinking about in terms of preparation and your insurance as well. So we'll talk about that. And then finally, we'll wrap up this hour with Mike Matthews. Yes, of course, Mr. Simply Marvelous, Caribbean Trade Center, who has a big event tomorrow evening at the Firefighters Memorial Building in Doral. And we'll have on Mike, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But without further ado, it is my pleasure to bring on to the show, like I said, a great friend of mine who is an incredible resource for a great industry sector here in South Florida. That's, of course, Ken Roberts, president of World City. How are you, Ken?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Great show, and glad to be here.
I thank you very, very much. Before we get to what you do with World City, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a career journalist, I guess, who worked for 5 newspapers before I started World City. I started another publication before this called South Florida Parenting. Sold that, realized I needed another job because I was a young man at that time, and I looked at this community and I said, this is an amazing community, as you know, Pete, that has so much going on here from an international point of view. And our perspective was that the traditional media in this town didn't understand all that was going on here. And guess what? Neither did I. I've learned and figured out what an amazing place this is just after being in the business for 14, 15 years now.
Well, you had a vision at the time, and I can relate to that because I know when I launched my business a year ago, I had a general idea what I wanted to do, but I have been learning every single day. And, you know, you stumble and you run into roadblocks, but you know something, if you're determined and you got a vision, man, you keep working at it.
Yeah, and Miami's just over the time period that I've been doing World City, again, we started in 1998, we've discovered one of the things we do is we look for the multinationals that are here and we have events for them. Mm-hmm. But we've discovered, we started with a list of a couple of hundred multinationals that the Beacon Council actually provided for us, which was great. And the phone started ringing off the hook after we published that list in one of our that time newspaper. And we realized maybe there's an opportunity here. So we went back to the Beacon Council and some others over time and said, we'd like to develop this database. Well, we now have 1,100 companies from 55 countries around the world that employ about 150,000 people here, oversee about 1 million around the world, oversee more than $200 billion of revenue just from here in Miami or South Florida. So it's a really amazing community. And we're constantly meeting people that are coming from all over the world to be part of what happens here.
Mm-hmm. Now, to get a little bit more specific, what are really the key objectives of what you're trying to do, really the purpose behind World City?
Sure. We have 2 primary sort of outreaches, and the first one is sort of South Florida, Miami specific. So we essentially have 5 event series we do for the international business community here. One is called Global Connections, which we've been doing 11 or 12 years now. It's been supported by FIU's College of Business since the onset, supported by Waterford Blue Lagoon, Chevron, the Marlins, and so forth. And that event series is broad-based, and we cover a bunch of topics that are of interest to the multinational business community. We do about 10 events a year. They're hour-and-a-half-long forums, always on Friday morning, because our crowd, basically, we say our crowd takes a plane to work, not a car. They get on a plane on Sunday, come back on Thursday. Yep. Friday morning is about the best time for those events. We also have one that's specifically for the import-export community, and we'll talk more about trade probably in a minute, but that's called Trade Connections. We've been doing that for 5 or 6 years. And then we have those are panel discussions. Then we have 3 that are actually roundtable discussions. We took this multinational database that I mentioned, and we realized as we developed that database and found out more and more about what these companies did here, we asked questions like, do you have an HR director here? Do you have a marketing director here? Do you have a government affairs director here, et cetera? And so we created an event series just for people in specific positions. So we have one called HR Connections for the human resources directors, meet 6 times a year for the multinationals, great event series. Sponsored by has been a sponsor from the get-go on that, also sponsored by other companies as well. We do one called Marketing Connections, great event series as well for the essentially the CMOs for these multinationals here. Then we have one called the CEO Club, which is just for the heads of Latin America. So great event series. We get to then talk to them about what's going on in their business, and then we publish the stories on our website.
Well, I've had the pleasure of attending many of your events in the last handful of years, and I have to tell you that the information that is shared and really the resources that are out there is, if that is your target market, which is this idea of globalization and importing and exporting, and really bringing that to the surface, you need to really look into this, because it just is just great information that is relevant, that you can take back to your respective organizations and implement.
Absolutely. No, it's as you said, every day you learn. You're constantly surprised about who's here and what they're doing here. Was just meeting with the folks in the Fort Lauderdale Alliance, Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, formerly Broward Alliance, talking about the multinationals that are up there. It's amazing what's going on up there as well. So it's, you asked about sort of our business. The second piece of our business, which we'll talk more about in a minute, but is the trade side. So one side is all these events we do in Miami that I've talked a little bit about. The other side is these trade publications we do and on our website. So we do annual trade publications for Los Angeles, Seattle, Houston, Laredo, Georgia, Miami, U.S. We're doing one for perishable trade numbers. Next week we have an event called Trade Connections where we'll launch that publication, Perishable Trade Numbers. Obviously, perishable trade is a very important industry in Miami for flowers and fish and all sorts of produce from Central America. So, it's just if you're a curious person, as I am, I'm just blessed that I have this opportunity to have this job and to do what I do.
Well, like I said, the opportunity there, but you seized it, and you're doing things, and you're constantly reinventing yourself and doing new things. So that's the spirit of this new economy that we're in today. That we've got to embrace that and then actually do it.
Yeah, no. If you're in the media business, and you can't help but have to reinvent yourself and be very nimble. One of the advantages of being a relatively small company is that we're able to move on a dime. So we're able to seize opportunities. We're working on a project now with American Airlines Cargo, for example, that wanted a poster of how the 5 airports in their hub network trade with the world, and we could turn and do that on a dime. We've got Banesco, a local bank that's very interested in Puerto Rico. They've asked to do something on Puerto Rico, so we're doing a Puerto Rico trade numbers project for them right now. So as these projects come up, we're able to, as a client has a need, we're able to say, let's talk about what you really need, and let's see if we can pull that off for you.
Perfect. Now, this is a loaded question, but what is your take right now on the import-export? Really, what is your read on the whole landscape of import and exports today?
If you mean specifically Miami, or
let's say South Florida.
South Florida. Yep. Well, South Florida had a record year last year. For the first year ever, topped $100 billion in trade, ended about $112 billion. So that's, when we started doing Miami trade numbers a decade or so ago, Miami trade was below $50 billion. So it's twice that now. So that's fantastic. That trade has changed over the years, but is largely going to be led by exports from South Florida to Latin America. Okay. The opportunity for South Florida remains enormous to grow as a trade hub. There's certainly competition from other markets, particularly Houston, but a lot of people are very interested in the things we do here. They understand what we do here. They understand we are the gateway to Latin America, and they think there's great opportunities, particularly, obviously, Brazil, Argentina, China, Chile, and so forth. So But when I look at it, there's sort of 2 or 3 big projects happening right now that will have an influence on South Florida's trade in the near future. One is the expansion of the Panama Canal, which is maybe another year or 2 off.
Right.
With that in mind, and I'm sure you've had speakers on this on your show, but they're deepening the channel at Port Miami.
Yeah, right.
They're taking that to 50 feet. 50 feet sort of the magical number for some of these what they call post-Panamax ships, which will no longer be post-Panamax because they'll be able to get through the Panama Canal. They can then bring things that historically have stopped at L.A. Long Beach. They can bring them through the canal and can stop at places like Miami and elsewhere. That should be good for South Florida. In addition, they're reconnecting the rail line to allow for more cargo to get off the port grounds. Also quite good. And then the tunnel is a big project to take.
In fact, you're speaking of all these great projects that affect the port, and I had Bill Johnson on last week with Kevin Lansky and Wanda, who is his deputy director. And so it was fascinating, everything going on. And, of course, as you also know, just recently now the new Section 281 for the foreign trade zones.
Correct.
Which is going to go from Southwest 8th Street north to the Dade-Broward County line. And that now is going to open up unbelievable opportunities that we don't even see yet.
Right.
Because when you think of someone that's in, the Dominican Republic that wants to invest in the States and wants to open up now, there's got opportunity to have a free foreign trade zone.
Correct.
In Miami-Dade County.
Right. It's the typical case of where, what government does best, obviously, is provide opportunities. And what is unknown is what will come of that.
Exactly.
I was talking to Gary Goldfarb from WTDC, and we were just talking about it. And one of the ideas he thought is, he said, you may see companies now bring in sugar into the foreign trade zone without having to pay duties or tariffs that they have to pay exceptionally high now because of our protection of the U.S. sugar industry. Bring that in, it becomes made into candy, and now it's exported out without having to pay that because it is no longer sugar. So, who knows what opportunities entrepreneurs will seize and realize as they think about their business. How can I become more efficient, save consumers money, sell more product, et cetera, et cetera. So,
well, I think you just said it right there. What the government side will do is give you the authorization, and you go through the license, getting your license, and now which is now going to be overseen by Port Miami, this expanded foreign trade zone. But it will have to be the private sector, the entrepreneurs that actually implement it and bring life to all of that.
Right.
So it's a partnership, public and private, really coming together on something that, I think could work really well, but time will tell. But I think there's great opportunities there. Now, not that we're out of it yet, but this global recession,
right? Sure,
it's been lingering on for almost now 5 years, give or take.
Right.
How do you think that's affected just really globalization and international trade as a whole?
The recession has had a profound impact on all businesses and all companies and all. There's obviously always exceptions. But, we saw U.S. trade and trade with most customs districts, most countries, really bottomed out in 2009. So it's been a while. And almost all customs districts and most countries now are now back at record levels of trade. Some came out earlier than others. Miami came out very early because Miami leads the nation in its trade surplus. It's one of the few customs districts in the country. There's about 4 dozen that has a trade surplus. And so Miami came out relatively early because Latin America did not really suffer like the United States and some other countries in this global recession. They didn't have a mortgage market, largely, is one of the driving factors. Right. So Miami didn't suffer quite as bad as some of the other customs districts around the country. But I think now of the top, say, 15 to 20 customs districts, all but 1 or 2 are back at record levels. In terms of countries, there's a handful that have still not reached those record levels. The ones that did get back to record levels fastest were the developing world, the ones we think of as the developing world, not the European nations so much. And they're the ones that are lagging a little bit. Canada has lagged a little bit. But if you look at the rest of the world, it's back to record levels of trade. So trade has largely rebounded completely. In terms of what's going on in Miami, in terms of international trade, I think people are doing pretty well. I think everybody shares the same opinion as things are better, but boy, they could still get better yet.
Well, that's exactly it. This recession is definitely a game changer, and it really has brought folks to the crossroads about, okay, where do we go from here, type of thing.
Right.
And some of the things that have been working in the past are not going to work anymore. And so how do we take those bold steps and really look around and say, how can we take advantage of what we have here right now?
Right.
And really go to another level with that. So I just think that, it's there's opportunities, but we got to go get them there. Now, you collect data all the time.
Right.
You're constantly doing that. At this point, from what you've been able to bring together, what are some of the trends that you're spotting down the road in the next handful of years?
Yeah, one of the things that's I'll talk about the multinational piece of it, which is where our events are, and I'll talk about the trade because they're related but a little bit different. On the multinational side, one of the things that we have seen happen over the last handful of years is that more and more of the multinationals who are here are having how do I explain this most simply? When we look at the ratio of employees they have here to the employees they manage, that ratio is changing. What they're doing is they're putting more people in the region relative to the people they have here. There's a number of reasons for that. One, they're finding the education of the people in country is better, and they're finding better talent there. They're finding there's some advantage to being in country if you're trying to do business in country. And they're finding they can manage their higher level executives from Miami. So what does that mean? That has all sorts of implications for a place like Miami. So it used to be there was maybe 4 employees for every 4 employees managed from here for every employee that was here. That number is now 8 to 1 or greater. It's sort of always moving. So in other words, there's 7 employees who aren't here for every one that is now, where it used to be 3.
Right.
So what does that mean? Well, it means the type of office space that companies need changes. So in addition to technology changes in the office today, there's also a change for the amount of space. It also means and what also I think more and more companies are realizing is they can use their space differently if they have people that are constantly on the move. They don't always necessarily have to have, one company a number of years ago who has subsequently downsized a little bit here, but Western Union realized they could treat their office almost like a hotel. So you could say when you were going to be in Miami, and they would make sure you had a desk to work from. But it might not necessarily be the desk you always had. So if they had, let's say a company has 200 employees here, but maybe at any given time 50 of them are here, do they really need 200 desks? What's the number they need? So that has implications for the real estate market. On the trade side, what are the changes? The changes that we have seen through the global recession that I think will not stand for long is that Miami has become a huge importing and exporting hub for gold.
Interesting.
Miami leads the nation in the imports of gold. And that gold comes from primarily Mexico and Colombia. And that gold, when it hits here, where it goes is Switzerland. It almost exclusively goes to Switzerland, which is a banking hub, and where there's a lot of privacy, a higher level of privacy and discretion than you might be able to find elsewhere.
We've heard enough of that in the news lately.
But we're also starting to see as some of that gold now is finding itself to other markets. We saw it increase to the UAE, United Arab Emirates. We saw some to China. So we're seeing some of that, and part of that is the price of gold has gone so high. So we're talking about the value of gold. Part of that is not necessarily more gold, although it is that too, but it's also the price of gold. I think, this is just me, I think gold is a silly investment. You can't really do anything with gold except cover your fear. And as long as you've got an economy built on fear, you don't have much of an economy at all.
You got it.
So at some point, I think, so what does that mean practically? Well, it means Switzerland has become an enormous trade partner with South Florida just because of all that precious metal, that gold that is going to Switzerland. It means Mexico has now become a top 10 trade partner for Miami. That may stay because the relationships between Mexico and Miami have become incredibly strong over the last handful of years. It's almost as if the two places have just recently discovered each other.
You have that one product that will open up the doors, but then once you get into communication with each other, that opens up other opportunities because then you create a relationship.
Right. So I see over time as the economy sort of gets its sea legs a little bit more, you may see some changes there in Switzerland, Mexico's relative importance. The other thing that's kind of interesting that's going on right now is Miami has never finished in the top 10, or at least not in the last 10 to 15 years to my knowledge, among all customs districts in the country. This year at the halfway point, we're number 10. We've moved ahead of San Francisco. So that's significant for, to be a top 10 customs district is sort of a big deal. So that could be sort of a wonderful thing if Miami finishes the year in the top 10 for the first time.
Well, I tell you, Ken, this is great information. I mean, this is terrific, and I've known of the work that you've done through the years and what you continue to do, and I meant when I said you are an incredible resource for this community, for the local economy, and I'm thrilled that you accepted my invitation to come out here today and chat. I mean, we could literally have more dialogue here. There's so many things to talk about, and I want to provide you an open invitation to come back as you can, and we can expand and do updates, get your trade numbers. And, once the new information comes out, then we can announce those those numbers.
Sure,
to
absolutely.
The listeners. I think it'd be a great opportunity there for the listeners this morning. If they want more information and on the types of things you guys are doing and with all the events and everything and the information, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can go to any number of ways, but they can go to worldcityweb.com or ustradenumbers.com. If they're looking for the trade side, every month we update the trade statistics for more than 200 countries and more than 40 customs districts with an interactive map with stories on there, so they can go there. With the events we do here in Miami, the best way is worldcityweb.com. That's an easy way to sort of get a hold of us. And I should close here by thanking you for the program you do, because it plays a valuable role in this community, and I think people are very appreciative of that.
Well, thank you very much,
Good
my
work.
friend. So you're welcome back anytime, buddy.
Sure.
And good luck taking your son to school.
I'm taking my son to the airport because he's heading off to college for his second year. That's right.
Where's he going to school?
He goes to a school called Hamilton in upstate New York.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Man. Good
Yeah.
for you. Well,
So we're getting him out before the hurricane, I guess.
Do it, buddy. Do
All
it.
right.
All right, my friends. We'll be back after the break with more of the Power Hour, Pete Della Torre Business Program. See you in a bit.
We'll be right back with the Pete Della Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Hi, I'm Pete Della Torre, host of the Renata's Business Hour show. Do you hate your bank? Don't care? Are you tired of never being able to contact your banker and getting charged a fee for almost everything you do? Always being in the back of the line? If so, you might want to listen to what I have to say about my bank, Great Florida Bank. Here I get personalized, concierge-style service. And now is a great time to sign up for Great Florida Bank's Merchant Services Mobile Credit Card Processing Solution. Their team will take a look at your processing needs, and if a mobile solution works for you, they'll give you a mobile card reader for free. If Great Florida Bank can't meet or beat your current processing rates, you'll receive $500. And I'm going to share one of Great Florida Bank's best kept secrets. They never charge customers to use ATMs nationwide. Plus, if another bank charges you an ATM fee, they reimburse that ATM fee anywhere in the U.S. At Great Florida Bank, they take pride in offering personalized customer service and even give their customers their cell number. If you want a banking experience like mine, the Great Florida Bank Standard of Banking, call my personal banker, Obdulio Piedra, Great Florida Bank's Miami-Dade Market President. Call his cell, 305-514-6450, and tell Obdulio I sent you.
Today, everyone wants to be environmentally responsible, but you can't recycle your way to sustainability. Real sustainability goes far beyond recycling and requires us to consider the three competing factors at work in our world: the economy, the environment, and society. By choosing concrete as your preferred building and paving material, you will achieve sustainable results in all three areas. Concrete's durability allows homes and structures built with concrete or concrete block to withstand Florida's severe weather and keep your family safe within your financial means. Concrete roads and parking lots are also very affordable, have much cooler surface temperatures, and last 3 to 5 times longer than asphalt, providing a much higher value for the money on public projects funded with your tax dollars. Lastly, concrete pavements allow shorter stopping distance in both wet and dry conditions and are reflective, providing safer conditions and better visibility at night for both pedestrians and motorists while using less energy at a lower overall cost. Choose concrete, the material for life. A message from Titan America, one of Florida's leading cement and concrete manufacturers. Visit them at TitanAmerica.com or call them at 954-481-2800.
Welcome back to the Pete Della Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Welcome back, my friends, to the Pete Della Torre Business Program's Power Hour, Thanks again to Ken Roberts, president of World City, who is, and I mean it, he is a resource for anyone that is in the international market, importing, exporting. That's your guy, and he will be back on the show down the road and share some more very, very important and exciting information for all of you. Now it is my pleasure to bring onto the show, and this was done about, I want to say about 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. We have a new partner that will be joining us here in the month of September, a new sponsor of the program, and that is the Latin American Association of Insurance Agents. And but I wanted to see if we can get some breaking news here, because unfortunately we have a storm in our backyard. So I thought it was just a good idea to bring on someone from the insurance industry, a past president of the LAAIA, and she is also vice president of NCF Insurance Associates, and that is Dulce Resnick, who is on the phone with us. Hello, Dulce.
Good morning, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing terrific, and of course, welcome to the show and agreeing to be on a very, very short notice. And you have got to be extremely busy right now.
Yes, as a matter of fact, our office is in storm mode at this point.
My God, that's not, I don't like to hear that, but it's the reality. Tell us a little bit before we get into what's happening right now and some important information that I know you're going to share with the listeners. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I've been an insurance agent for over 27 years, and I've had the opportunity to sit on a few different task forces for the insurance industry, one of which is the Citizens Agents Roundtable, and a few years ago, the Florida Alliance on Hurricane Insurance, which was formed in 2006 after the 2004 and 2005 hurricane seasons, which were so busy. So when it comes to insurance in South Florida, or basically the state of Florida, and when it comes to, properly insuring and getting ready for a storm, I can give some good advice, having survived Andrew and having been in this industry years before Andrew. I could tell you the difference between prior to Andrew, how the industry was, and what it is today. And I know everybody can agree that what the industry is today is not in good shape.
Well, I tell you what, I remember 20 years ago, and in fact, this Friday will be the 20th anniversary of Andrew.
Yes, sir.
I had a home in Kendall, and at the time, I think I was paying my annual policy was around $400 and change. Okay, and after Andrew, which was we were talking about this yesterday, it was about a 25, maybe $27 billion impact in terms of what it cost to renovate and rebuild. That took a major drain from every insurance company's reserves, because that's what those reserves are for, is to help pay claims, and it completely shifted the landscape. And we now have a very sobering reminder of that we are in hurricane season. And now, especially with the news of Tropical Storm Isaac, which they're predicting to be a hurricane, I don't know if it'll be later on today or tomorrow. I haven't heard anything since about 8 o'clock this morning, so you may have more information for me.
I have good news for you.
Yes.
As of 8 o'clock this morning, all of us who were watching the news while we were getting ready to head to work, we all saw that the center line of the cone was headed straight for Miami. Well, as of the 11 a.m. advisory, it looks like it has shifted a little bit, and it's more like Naples is in the center line of that cone. So obviously, as they tell you, these cones are not exact. I mean, it could go to the east a little, it could go to the west a little. There's different weather systems out there that are going to affect which direction this will go. So we have to hang tight. But I will tell you that the insurance companies have been monitoring this disturbance since the weekend, and as it's been maturing, and the companies have already sent out their notices that they are keeping a close eye, and the minute that watches and warnings are posted anywhere in the state of Florida, then we cannot write insurance any longer. So it's very important, if you have not made your payment for your insurance policy, whether it's auto, homeowners, or for your business, and it renews any time between today and the 29th of August, you need to make sure that that payment is in the mail right away. Because you don't know if the mail system is going to be delayed. If you have the opportunity to do it online and make your payment
even
online,
better. Yep.
Go ahead and do so.
Absolutely. Now, at this point, because this is a business radio show, and of course, a storm like this affects our homes, of course, but our businesses, and our listening audience are business professionals. Mm-hmm. What should local businesses be doing right now?
Every business should have a CAT plan, a catastrophe plan. Now, every business is different. A doctor's office CAT plan would be different than an insurance agent's CAT plan, than a restaurant's CAT plan. But the basic principles are to be able to make sure that your staff understands what is expected of them before, in preparation of the storm, and after the storm, that you have a contact list of your entire staff, and that everybody has everybody's telephone number so they can get in contact, that you know where your staff lives, in distance from your business location. Because what usually happens, and people need to understand, is that right after the storm passes and an all clear is given, okay, the county does not want people venturing out on the roadways because they're not safe, because they have yet assessed to see if there's debris in the roads, if there's roads that have been shut down because maybe a tree fell over it, traffic signals that aren't working. So what they would like is that only the people who need to report back to work, because, for example, in our case, I'm an insurance agent. The minute the all clear is given, I must report to work to start taking claims. Mm-hmm. Okay? But other people might not have to. Some county employees do, some don't. What they call non-essential workers don't have to report to the county. The reason they do this is to keep people off the road. So you should have a point person that will go down to the business location and see, is there damage? Is there electricity? Can we function? Can we not function? And then that point person contact the staff and say, listen, don't come in, don't risk anything, stay home until further notice, there's no electricity, yada, yada, yada. And that person can start actually doing some assessments of what the damage is. But most importantly is staying in contact with your staff. And you might want to do some preparations ahead of time. So if your staff does have to come in, so that there is everything available there for your staff. And in our case, which we are an insurance agency, we have extra water and batteries just in case they don't have anything at home. Doctors' offices do that all the time. So you want to assess to make sure that you have enough supplies in your office to go back into business or not.
Well, it's an obvious thing that everybody should have everybody's cell phone number.
Mm-hmm. But how many people change their cell phone numbers?
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. So that you need current information here, because forget about I think today things have changed a lot in 20 years after Andrew, where the landlines were it, and I think the majority of people are using cell phones, so that's a good thing. But things can happen there, and you've got to be able to communicate with each other there. Now, again, just for the benefit of the listeners, I know that it varies from, I guess, company to company, but at what point does an insurance company stop writing new policies?
You're correct. It does vary from company to company. Most of the companies are using the warning or watches posted by the National Hurricane Center. Some companies still use what they call the boundary box, mm-hmm. which is basically from Puerto Rico to the Yucatan on the west side, and then from Puerto Rico up to Cape Hatteras on the east side. So, you have to make sure, call your company, call your agent, find out, if they're under binder restrictions. Also, very important, all these businesses, if you do not have property insurance at this time, and when I say property insurance, I'm talking about the building or the interior if you have an office, including the hurricane coverage, you have a very small window of opportunity to get that taken care of between today and tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. So you still have a window of opportunity. Once we feel that sometime tomorrow afternoon they might be a watch or warning posted, and then the window is closed. Okay? If you live in the coastal areas or you have a business in the coastal areas, and this is anywhere east of I-95 in US 1 in Dade County and east of 95 in Broward County, if you're a restaurant or an office or whatever in that area and you have a wind-only policy and you need to make the payment, but if you don't have a wind-only policy, as you know, due to the current economic situation, a lot of businesses as well as individuals have decided not to purchase windstorm coverage. Those people who do not have coverage now have a 30-day waiting period. If you didn't buy flood insurance and you're along the intercoastal areas that flood, if you didn't have flood insurance in place, flood insurance also has a 30-day wait. So your window for flood and windstorm are closed if you're in the coastal areas.
You know that as is with, it's typical with humans, we tend to react, and we react at the last minute when it may just be too late. So whether we get a direct hit from the storm or whatever happens in the next handful of days, and I just saw what you told me right now, that the direct or the middle now, it's more towards Southwest Florida and all that, but that doesn't matter. I mean, because there's going to be some sort of an effect there. But the bottom line is that we are in hurricane season and have been in hurricane season since June the 1st, and it doesn't finish officially to November 30th, right?
November 30th. And our hurricane season actually started in May this year.
Right. We had right.
The first two storms that actually formed were the last week of May.
That's true. That is absolutely correct.
Our season started a little early. And, and we've had, if you remember, the 2005 hurricane season went into December.
Yeah,
it was like 2 weeks before Christmas, and we actually had a storm.
Well, we ran out of
the alphabet.
The alphabets, yeah.
We went into the Greek alphabet.
Went to the Greek alphabet, yeah. That was an absolutely insane year. That was Katrina that year.
Katrina, Wilma, Rita,
Wilma,
which all of them affected South Florida in one way or the other.
Yep. I remember well. So
it was like every 3 weeks we were putting up shutters.
Oh, yeah, that was, and 04 wasn't a whole lot better either.
No, if Central Florida was feeling our pain.
Absolutely.
So those are the things to think about. We get a little complacent because it's been a while. Most people tell me, it's been 7 years since, we had the last storm, which was Wilma. My house is built like a fortress, or the office building that I'm in, we moved recently and we're in this really great fire-resistive AAA construction building, so I really don't have to worry. You still have to prepare. You still have to prepare because you need to prepare as a business when you're going to shut down for the safety of the public, when you're going to reopen for the safety of the public and your staff, and being able to have those communication lines ready. And if you have insurance, make sure that you have a copy of your policy. It's very simple. Like you said, technology is great. Take a picture with your smartphone of your insurance policies. Keep them with you, and that way, if the storm hits and you can't get through to your agent, that policy, the second or third page, has a claims hotline number. If it doesn't, call your agent and say, listen, can I have that claims hotline number just in case? Because as you know, most phones today are computerized, most phone systems. So if there's no electricity, your phones are not going to work. And, we're on most places have VoIP phone systems. So if a computer's down, the phone is down.
And that's another important thing right now. There's so many subcategories to all of this and things we need to think about, but the computers at our businesses, we've got to back up all our information.
Absolutely.
And now we have the cloud system and things like that, which help a lot, but a lot of folks don't have that yet. And they have everything on their physical computer in their office.
Exactly.
And if that gets damaged, you've got a major problem on your hands.
Exactly. It's a different world today.
Yep.
When Andrew hit, I went to my office on a Sunday, picked up the backup tape because the backup started Friday night.
Right.
Picked up the backup tape. Back then it was a big tape. And I was locked up in the master bathroom area of my house with that tape with me. Me, my parents, my brother, my sister, everybody. And I had the backup tape with me because that was all of our information as of Friday.
Yep.
And the storm hit. Unfortunately, it's very reminiscent of what we're watching right now.
Yep.
It went from Sunday night into early Monday morning when Andrew hit. So,
I remember that well. Trust me, I had two moments in my life where I didn't think I was going to make it. through, and that was one night. And I think all of us that were there and experienced that had those same feelings.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's not pleasant at all, but, we have to face a reality of preparation. And there's also what happens afterwards, which you just mentioned. So this is terrific information, Dulce, and we learned a lot from Andrew, but a big portion of the population was not here during Andrew.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. We have a lot of new people here, a lot of people who have never experienced a hurricane and that either don't know how to really prepare or that maybe think, oh, this is just going to fly by and it's not going to be a problem.
And hopefully that will happen.
Oh, well, you know what they say. Prepare for the worst and then pray for the best.
That is exactly it. Listen, we're wrapping it up right now, but for the benefit of the listeners, I'm sure they're going to have more questions and all that. What is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
They can actually call me at the office, or they can send me an email. My office number is 305-446-5474, or they can email me at dresnick@ncfins.com. Go ahead and send me an email with any questions you have, and I will gladly respond.
Dulce, thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to the next few months and partnering up with the LAAIA in terms of providing a lot more information in general about the insurance industries and all the topics. So I'm sure you and I are going to be talking again very soon.
Have a great day, and stay safe.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. We're going to go to the last break of this hour, and we will be right back with the Pete Della Torre Business Programs Power Hour.
We'll be right back with the Pete Della Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Imagine owning one of the finest automobiles in its class for a payment you never thought possible. Well, right now at Esserman International Volkswagen, it is possible. Because for a limited time, you can lease the all-new 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month. Yes, you heard right. A 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month with zero due at signing on a 36-month lease with zero security deposit. Only Esserman International Volkswagen can offer you such an exquisite combination of price and service. Enjoy it all at Esserman International Volkswagen, home of the 2012 Passat S for just $249 per month. 36-month lease, zero due at signing, zero security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, plus tax, tag with approved credit, $249 lease per month. Offer good through September 3rd, 2012.
Hi, my name is Plinio Vargas, and I'm the president of Professional Negotiators Incorporated, where we specialize in credit restoration, debt repayment arbitration, personal money management, and purchasing. Come join me and my staff to go over how to establish 3 very important things: money in the bank, no debt, and clean credit. Feel free to give us a call at 305-493-1900. We're open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And yes, we have Saturday hours from 9 to 5. Again, give us a call at 305-493-1900. Let me and my staff make your home and car buying purchases, that dream, a reality.
Hi, I'm Pete Della Torre, host of the Renata's Business Hour show. Do you hate your bank? Don't care? Are you tired of never being able to contact your banker and getting charged a fee for almost everything you do? Always being in the back of the line? If so, you might want to listen to what I have to say about my bank, Great Florida Bank. Here I get personalized, concierge-style service. And now is a great time to sign up for Great Florida Bank's Merchant Services Mobile Credit Card Processing Solution. Their team will take a look at your processing needs, and if a mobile solution works for you, they'll give you a mobile card reader for free. If Great Florida Bank can't meet or beat your current processing rates, you'll receive $500. And I'm going to share one of Great Florida Bank's best-kept secrets. They never charge customers to use ATMs nationwide. Plus, if another bank charges you an ATM fee, they reimburse that ATM fee anywhere in the U.S. At Great Florida Bank, they take pride in offering personalized customer service and even give their customers their cell number. If you want a banking experience like mine, the Great Florida Bank Standard of Banking, call my personal banker, Obdulio Piedra, Great Florida Bank's Miami-Dade Market President. Call his cell, 305-514-6450, and tell Obdulio I sent you.
Welcome back to the Pete Della Torre Business Program, sponsored by Great Florida Bank, Esserman International, Community Newspapers, Titan America, and Holiday Inn Coral Gables.
Welcome back, my friends, to the last part of the Pete Della Torre Business Program for an August 22nd, 2012. And thank you again to Dulce Resnick for some just valuable information on the insurance front as we're looking at this storm. And again, knock on wood, hopefully we will be spared a direct hit and even better at any sort of effect. But as she said, prepare for the worst, expect the best. So let's be smart, folks. All right, now as we're wrapping up today's show, I want to bring on a great friend of mine. He was here about a couple of months ago, and he's going to talk up a cool event he's doing tomorrow evening in Doral, and that is, of course, Mr. Simply Marvelous himself, Mike Matthews. What's going on, buddy?
Top of the day, Pete, and it's great to be on your Our Power Show, because I think we have some powerful things we can share about this event tomorrow.
Absolutely. So without further ado, buddy, tell me all about it. I know this is the second annual Travel, Trade, and Tourism Business Showcase. Of course, it's at the Firefighters Memorial Building in Doral. Tell me about it, my friend. What's happening?
Well, tomorrow, the travel, trade, and tourism industries would get together the business community to, first of all, identify business opportunities and look at new opportunities in the Caribbean. In the past, the Caribbean is known as for cocoa, coffee, and sugar cane and all this good stuff. But I think the evolution in time has now put the Caribbean in the forefront as a major trading partner with Florida. And I want to bring that solidly out front to the attendees and the exhibitors that will be here to make connections to enter a new era of business transactions with the Caribbean.
Well, the Caribbean has so much to offer, and you and I have had these conversations many, many times. And it's like you said, the Caribbean has a certain we have a certain idea about what the Caribbean is, and of course, a great place to vacation and very laid back and all that. But there is some serious business that transacts in the Caribbean, correct?
Yes, there's a lot of enterprises right now that have grown into major businesses in the Caribbean. We don't produce much to be exporting, but we do a lot of importation to suffice the needs, in the local needs. And as one would understand that trade is not the major involvement for all the Caribbean islands. Many of the islands, they depend on tourism,
right,
and hospitality services. And as such, bringing this type of show together will identify those new opportunities, and that when a business person goes down to do business, he's treated like a tourist. In other words, he spends money down there. He has more expendable cash than a vacationer. So I think we have to make that differentiation and accommodation for the business folks who are going down there, that they can be treated royally, that they will make business a pleasure.
Now, you've got a long list of supporters and sponsors, and I'm also very proud to be one of those for the event.
Thank you.
But you've got the likes of Port Everglades and Port Miami and the airport. Who are some of the other entities that will be participating tomorrow night?
Well, we have, of course, you said Port Everglades, Sea Freight Agencies, Inter Air, Miami International Airport, Barbados Tourism Authority, FIBA, which is the Florida International Bankers Association, and many of the other supporting organizations, Peruvian Chamber of Commerce and Virtual Downtown Chamber, Valeria Bahamas Express. That's a new service that goes from Port Miami to the Bahamas, and CTO, which is the Caribbean Tourism Association here in South Florida, and many others. I can go on. It will take up a lot of time, but we have a lot of good sponsors. We have as our main sponsor, Dutch Antilles Express, and they are known as the Caribbean Wings.
I saw that. That's great.
Right. And they are now, they have just announced daily nonstop service between Miami and Curacao. And they would be our diamond sponsor, and they'll be having a wonderful presentation here this evening. And in general, I think this event is for the exhibitors, the sponsors, and the attendees, that they may have an opportunity to integrate, meet one another, generate ideas, make friends, and do business.
Well, another two of your supporters and sponsors, of course, Camacol and Enterprise Florida, which are two major players in the area here regarding trade. And
the Miami-Dade Economic Development Division also is also part of it, and La Park and Shipping.
Right.
And we have a wonderful mix of companies and a diverse attendee listing. So I think we expect in the area of 250 to 300 people here tomorrow. We have about 40 exhibitors, and we're looking forward to a tremendous, dynamic showing tomorrow, and everything is being prepared for such.
Now, we have a couple of minutes left here, Mike. Tell us briefly about your two featured guests.
Okay, our featured guest tomorrow will be, of course, the Honorable Jennifer Carroll, who's the Lieutenant Governor for the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. She has graciously accepted to be here because I think the theme of the event is something that is being looked at quite curiously for business development between Florida and the Caribbean.
Right.
She'll be here in a presentation. I'm also very pleased to say that the Honorable Louise Leisure, who's the Consul General for the Consulate General of Canada here in Miami. She's also going to be a featured guest. And we're having lots of members of the Council of Corps going to be here to support the event in the interests of their countries and business development in their countries. And all in all, we have a very, very, very accommodating facility here that will certainly be a successful event.
Now, of course, the event will be held tomorrow evening, the 23rd, at the Firefighters Memorial Building. And for everyone's information, the address is 8000 Northwest 21st Street, Doral, Florida. This is just off of 82nd Avenue.
The code is 33122.
And the event is from 5 to 9 p.m., is that correct?
Yes, the event is from 5 to 9. We're having a bit of steel pan entertainment on the side, and we try to make it as Caribbean business USA as best as possible.
It's great, and there, of course, we have the tabletop exhibitors, going to be an art exhibit, free parking, food and rum tasting, okay, and prize drawings, right?
Wow, we have some wonderful prizes, airline tickets, we have hotel stays, we have a lot of nice prizes that are accumulating, and they're still coming in.
Mike, for the benefit of the listeners, if they have questions and they need information on the event and also how to register, what would that be?
Well, they can go directly online at www.ctcbiz.org, and they'll get all the registration information there. Or if not, if they need some information, they can call me direct, 305-498-3109.
Fantastic. Mike, thank you so much again for, I know you're getting the last minute details taken care of, and you've got a full plate of things that you're doing today, but I want to thank you very much for taking the time to being on the show today.
It was my pleasure, Pete, and thanks for the opportunity to share this with you. And again, I wish you the best with our Power Business Show.
Thank you, my friend. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow night.
Thanks again, Pete.
Take care. All right, my friends, that will be it for the Pete De La Torre Business Program on an August 22nd morning here in beautiful South Florida. I want to thank my guests that were here during the Power Hour, Ken Roberts, World City, Duza Resnick, who gave us some valuable information on everything going on with insurance, especially revolving storms, and, of course, Mike Matthews. We are on every week, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. here on 880 a.m. The Biz. Thank you so much for listening today, and, of course, get yourselves ready. It's never too late to prepare for hurricane season, whether it's this one or something down the road. But do take the prudent steps and get yourselves ready and protect your business and, more importantly, your home and your family. So thank you very much for listening. Have a great and profitable week, and I look forward to seeing to having everybody on board again next Wednesday here on 880 a.m. for the Pete De La Torre Business Program. Make it a great and profitable week. Take care.
Thank you for listening to the Pete De La Torre Business Program. Tune in again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. for more of the Pete